In this lesson we will talk about type 0 conditionals. Type 0 conditionals are used to express something that is always true. We can make a zero conditional sentence with two present simple verbs, one in the if clause and one in the main clause. If the temperature falls below 0 degrees, water turns into ice. This conditional is used when the result will always happen. So, when the temperature falls below 0 degrees, water always turns into ice. It is a fact. I'm talking in general, not about one particular situation. The result of if clause is always the main clause. The if in this conditional can usually be replaced by when, without changing the meaning. Let's see the difference. If Steve calls, tell him I'll be back in 10 minutes. Steve might call and might not call. I'm not certain. But when I say when Steve calls, tell him I'll be back in 10 minutes, it's certain that Steve will call. So, in this conditional, if always means when. Let's take some examples. If water boils, it produces steam. This is a fact. If you touch a fire, you get burned. You get water when you mix hydrogen and oxygen. What happens if snakes are scared? Conditionals type 1. Conditionals type 1 are used to express real or very probable situations in the present or future. In the if clause we use if plus present simple, and the main clause we use the future simple with will. This is the basic usage. If I see you tomorrow, I will tell you a secret. Be careful, if the if clause comes first, you should put a comma between the two clauses. But if you begin with the main clause, no comma is necessary. I will tell you a secret if I see you tomorrow. This means that it is possible that I will see you tomorrow. So I'm talking about a real situation. Note that we never use will or won't in the if clause. I cannot say if I will see you tomorrow. No, I cannot say that. If I have time today, I will phone my friend. Or I will phone my friend if I have time today. We can use unless instead of if not. If you don't go now, I will call the police. If I want to put unless instead of if not, I remove the if and not and replace if with unless. Unless you go now, I will call the police. If I am not busy tonight, I will watch a movie. Unless I am busy tonight, I will watch a movie. In fact, I can use more than present simple in the if clause in conditionals type 1. I can use any present tense in the if clause, including the present simple, present continuous, present perfect, or present perfect continuous. And in the main clause, I can use the future or imperative or modals like can, may, might, must, should, and could, plus bare infinitive. If I'm talking about a future action, I use the simple present in the if clause, and I can use in the main clause future simple or imperative or a modal auxiliary. If the book is interesting, I will buy it, or buy it, or you can buy it. If I am talking about an action that's going on now, I use the present progressive in the if clause. If he is snoring, I will wake him up, or wake him up, or you can wake him up. If I'm talking about a finished action, I use present perfect in the if clause. If he has moved into his new flat, we will visit him, or visit him, or we can visit him. If I'm talking about improbable action, I use should plus infinitive in the if clause. If she should win this race, I will congratulate her or congratulate her. Hello again. We continue talking about conditionals, and this time about conditionals type 2. Conditionals type 2 are used to express an imaginary or improbable situation which is unlikely to happen in the present or future. They are also used to give advice. In the if clause, we use if plus past simple or past continuous. And in the main clause, we use would, and we can use also could or might plus the bare infinitive. Let's take an example. If I won $1 million, I could stop working. The second conditional is like the first conditional. We are still thinking about the future. We are thinking about a particular condition in the future and the result of this condition. But there isn't a real possibility that this condition will happen. About this example, you don't have $1 million. Is it possible to stop working? No. No $1 million. No stop working. But maybe you will win $1 million in the future. So you can think about winning in the future like a dream. It is not very real, but it's still possible. If you stopped smoking, you would feel much better. If you saw a snake, what would you do? Notice that we are thinking about a future condition. We use the past simple to talk about the future condition. Somewhat strange. And we use would plus base verb to talk about the future result. The important thing about the second conditionals is that there is an unreal possibility that the condition will happen. We use were instead of was for all persons in the if clause of type 2 conditionals. If Ahmed were taller, he could be a basketball player. If Afnan were here, she would tell us what to do. If you were a doctor, what would you do? Also, we use if I were you when we want to give advice. If I were you, I talk to him about the problem. Here this D is a contraction of would. If I were you, I wouldn't travel on my own. If I were you, I would talk to my parents. Hello again. We continue with conditionals, and this time with conditionals type 3. Conditionals type 3 are used to express imaginary situations which are contrary to facts in the past. They are also used to express regrets and criticism. In the if clause, we use if plus past perfect or past perfect continuous. We know past perfect, we use had plus past participle. And in the main clause, we use would, could or might plus have plus past participle. We should know that when we use would or could or might with have plus past participle, that means that this thing didn't happen. So we regret it, or we criticize it, or we are giving a late advice, and we will see in examples. If she had studied harder, she would have passed the exam. That means she didn't study harder, and she didn't pass the exam. We consider this as a late advice. If he hadn't been acting foolishly, he wouldn't have been punished. This means that he acted foolishly and he was punished. We consider this as criticism. If I had been more careful, I wouldn't have made such a big mistake. We consider this a regret. He was careless and he made a mistake. If she had called earlier, I would have told her about the meeting.